Thought I'd bring you down to the garden today. Let's see what we got. Well, first of all, at the beginning of this row, which is all Hungarian hot peppers, there's a volunteer tomato plant. So that would be a Roma tomato. And then there's a lot of peppers. And I need to pick some of those today. A couple of the plants are turning brown, the leaves. So, and then over in this row, I'll stand in front of it, there's another Roma tomato volunteer. And all the rest of these down are jalapenos. Although one of the plants, I'm wondering if it's a jalapeno or not. It's got some funny shaped peppers on it that don't really look like jalapenos. Look at all these jalapenos though. But then there's more on this plant. Kind of hoping they'll get a little bigger. So we're waiting. But there's lots of them there. Same as with the hunky hots. They are looking good. I'm going to pick a bunch of these today and pickle them. And here's a weed. See if I can pull the weed out without pulling the plant out. There we go. Throw it over there. So that's the peppers. And down here, there's a couple of pepper plants. And these are jalapenos that I planted. I started from seed. And they're really tiny peppers on there. Now, I don't know what's going on with this plant. It's been watered. It's a volunteer acorn squash. And you can see there's one right in there. And there's one right in there. There's one here. But for some reason, the plant looks like it's half dead. Wilted. But then other parts of it look fine. Maybe it broke. Maybe it got broken. Who knows? Over there is, oh my gosh, when we went to plant the seeds, we had put this plastic down this spring and we cut the holes, and all these cottonwoods seeds came and were in between. So this is a young cottonwood I just pulled out of the garden. Don't want that. And then we bought some asparagus plants, and they were just really tiny. And we planted them here, and they look like they need to be divided or something. They've gone crazy. But anyway, then around the edge, Blaine cut the weeds down. He took the trimmer. But look at these nice weeds. Oh my pickling cucumbers, and there's a couple giant ones in there. I have decided we definitely prefer pickling cucumbers over regular cucumbers just for eating. So I'll come through and I'll pick these in a few minutes after we do our looking around. And I like to grow broccoli. So this is the broccoli gone to flower. But I can still pick off these heads and freeze them. Blanch them and freeze them. There's a lot of them in there. So I can do that. They never really got a single head on each plant. I think this is, oh look, there's one. So that's about it. Otherwise, what they did was they grew and immediately kind of went to flower like that. So I'd pick those off and throw them out beyond the fence for the deer to eat, and they liked them. And then I've been picking a few tomatoes, and we've got lots of green tomatoes in here. These are the beefsteaks down on this end. And what I'm going to do is trim back the plants. They're getting a little carried away here. And then up here, let's see. I just have to look for the Roma tomatoes starting here. I can see them. And then they go all the way down to the end. And I've started to pick a few tomatoes, so I'm waiting for a bunch of them to get ripe so I can make salsa. And making salsa means I gotta have these peppers. So I don't want to pick all these peppers and have no peppers left. You know, I could freeze them. I don't like them after they've been frozen. They seem to they're more watery somehow. And then over here, oh my goodness. So we bought some acorn squash. The young man said they were acorn squash. And we planted them in the row, but of course they decided to overtake the rows. And then they tried to grow through the tomatoes, and I have to keep coming out here and telling them, nope, you can't, so get back over there. But then I'm out here, and I'm looking for squash. And then this happened. Wait a minute. And you're saying, well, Shelley, those aren't acorn squash. Nope, apparently in this bunch of squash plants, there was a turban squash. And I was really disappointed. I thought the whole bunch was turban squash. But then I started digging around, and guess what? Acorn squash. So I gotta keep an eye on them because they're getting close to wanting to be harvested. Oh my goodness. So over here, oh my goodness, more turban squash. I just saw another one right in there. But I don't like stepping on the plants. I do want to kind of cut them back. But the funny thing is, I'll take you outside and I'll show you what's going on with that. So then there's a few plants here, and these have got to be harvested today too. A few green peppers, bell peppers. Love these bell peppers. Having your own bell peppers. So the other night for supper we had some venison backstrap harvested from the farm here, from a doe that we took last December. And then we had cucumbers, or pickling cucumbers. Some tomato, which was the first tomato that we harvested. And what else did we have? Cucumber, tomato, there was some, oh, and green pepper, bell pepper. Boy, was that a good supper. Just farm raised produce. And everybody talks about organic. I don't know any other way to do my garden except organic. It's the way I was taught. The way we always did it. So, this is all organic. Woohoo! So, let's come out here. I got my picking baskets. A couple of tomato baskets. So, these plants have been growing through the fence. Oh my goodness. The deer found acorn squash to eat, but they're eating off the plants as they come through the fence. You will not see any poking through the fence because they're taking care of that for me. I think it's hilarious. At first I was like, no, you can't eat all them. But then when I saw how much these plants are growing, I said, sure, you can have some. But it's awesome. The whole edge they have eaten off. And then I don't know what the heck these weeds are doing. But they have fuzzy tops. And they're probably bad. So I need to get rid of them, but I think they're kind of pretty. So, well, that's the garden down here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Pretty soon, we're going to have acorn squash in the freezer. Ooh, there's a big one in there. A couple big ones. The acorn squash I grew, and we had about 45 of them all together last year. And I took them and I roasted them in the oven. And then instead of scooping the inside out, which wasn't working really good for me, I felt like I was wasting a lot. I took a paring knife and peeled the outside skin off after I had roasted them and gotten them soft. And then I froze all that squash, and we had so many good meals. I took the squash and I cooked the squash I stuck it in the microwave to cook after I thawed it out with some brown sugar and salt and pepper. And brown sugar, oh, and butter too. And salt and pepper and brown sugar and a little butter. Oh my gosh, so good. Look at all the bees in there. We've had a lot of bumblebees pollinating in here. I don't know if you can see any of them. I just saw one down by my feet. Yeah, I don't see any right now. Just that one. The flowers are beautiful. I should learn how to make, I've never made stuffed squash blossoms, but look at how pretty those are. And they're supposed to be delicious. So maybe I should learn to make those. Then we wouldn't have to waste all those blossoms. But of course, you know, some are male, some are female blossoms, and you can't get over the size of that. That's a turban squash in there. I felt like maybe I got a pack of a variety of squash. But I think it's just maybe one plant that's down in this section that was a turban squash, and the rest are going to be acorn squash. So we're just excited. Can't wait for acorn squash. We love it. So good for you. Of course, not with the butter and the brown sugar on them, but still good squash. Well, I hope you enjoyed this trip down to the garden today. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.